Back one and down to 10. It has been an absolutely astonishing season.
Hello everyone and welcome to round 11 of the Formula SimRacing X Championship. A possible championship decider today. In fact, a probable championship decider, as Lucas Schmidt will have to score over 16 points more than Giordano Valeriano to keep the championship alive today. So it's going to be exciting, and Schmidt is going to have to race his absolute hardest and hope for quite a lot of good luck or bad luck. If you look at it that way, for Valeriano. We're at the Circuit of the Americas, and joining me in the commentary box today is a driver who knows how to do a corner or two, and also knows how to use a microphone as well. And that, of course, is Cameron Rodger. Hello, Cameron.
Hello, and yes, welcome everyone. This is going to be an absolutely exciting race today. Not the biggest field in the world, but the drivers that we have today are some top quality drivers, and they're going to put a nice show for us. And as you say, Valeriano can win the championship here today, so we'll be following his every move. When we get into warm up, we'll show you just exactly where he needs to finish and stuff like that. But for now, we're in qualifying, and it is Kian White who is currently on provisional pole position with a 1:30.3, which is just shy of what the pro pole time was earlier. So I would assume we see some low 1 minute 30s, maybe even into the 29s for some of these drivers.
Yes, well, you say that, and Robin Panzer has already gone quicker in the first sector. That's a whole 2/10 quicker than Kian White did. So Panzer flying in the first sector. He's in the second now, the more technical, twisty part of the course, and it's quick again. Now he's just got the final sector to go. Couple of really fast corners in the final sector. Look at this one. Many apexes. I believe that's called turn 15. Now watch as he flies through the last couple of left-handers towards the end of the course. And he's going to set this lap. Let's see what time this is. It's going to be top, I think, as he crosses the line. It is indeed. It's a 1:30.156, and that's almost 2/10 faster than Kian White did. What was the pole position lap in pro, and what kind of laps are we expecting here?
It's a 0.2, so we're already quicker than that from Robin Panzer, as normal, doing his best to set some good hot laps. He's always good in qualifying. So we're slightly quicker now. Obviously, there's less drivers, so the real road where the track surface actually grips up as time progresses, that's obviously going to be less because there are less cars out on track. So that is a good time from him, and I'm sure we'll see a 89 very soon.
Yeah, it certainly looks like it's possible, seeing looking at the lap times that we're seeing set at the minute. Also on a quick lap at the minute, Lucas Schmidt, and that's very important, seeing as Schmidt, he's just crossed the line actually. He's gone second, only just behind Robin Panzer, so that's a 1:30.181, and that's important because Schmidt, of course, is the driver with all the pressure going into this round, tasked with keeping the championship alive. He needs a good round here. Jeffrey Fournier moves up to 4th position there. And Victor Ivanov is currently improving his lap in 5th, as Cheyenne Nayam attempts to move himself further up than 10th place. We haven't actually got that many drivers here today, only 17, which is fewer than we've seen in a lot of the previous rounds this championship. In fact, I think it's the smallest grid we've seen yet this year. But we do still have a couple of penalties. We have Phil Kreis will have a 15 grid drop. Grid demotion rather, and Mark Behrens will be starting from the pit lane, so neither of them are really going to be attempting much in qualifying here, as they don't need to. Meanwhile, I've just seen Victor Ivanov putting a wheel in the gravel there. That's going to cost him a little bit of time, but as he crosses the line, he's going to settle up anyway, and it is an improvement actually. That moves him up to 4th. So I'd love to have seen what that lap would have been without the slight error, but anyway, Ivanov stops, and he will he will go out and set another time, I'm sure. So I'm just watching Giordano Valeriano. He is actually not on a lap at the minute, but let's ride on board with him actually as he shows us this circuit of the Americas. He's going onto a lap now, and you'll see just how steep the hill is before the blind turn 1. That's a very difficult corner. You really have to pick the apex and just clip it there. Now through the long right-hand turn 2, and watch these S's. These are based or designed around the Beckett's Chapel complex from Silverstone, except almost inverted really, and slightly longer as well. More apexes to worry about, and more elevation change as well, as it really bounces up at the end, and that's it really does unsettle the rear end of the car sometimes. Talking of that, that wasn't the best of lines through the hairpin there, but Valeriano puts the power down on the exit and speeds down the back straight. We're now approaching the second sector. This is the technical part, the arena sector. There's a tight left-hand hairpin there. Well, semi-hairpin. That's where a lot of the overtaking takes place on this track. Now watch the two spoon curves almost. The two dippers, which flick you through to, again, this long right-hand turn 15. Many apexes there. That's where Max Verstappen quite famously attempted to pass Kimi Räikkönen at last year's Grand Prix and ended up getting penalised for it. Final corner for Giordano Valeriano. I'm not convinced that this is going to be a quicker lap from him, but we'll see as he crosses the line. It was, in fact, it moves him up to 6th. So Valeriano, who we've seen has not been the best of qualifiers so far this year, and tends to make up his time in the race, is currently 6th at the minute.
Yeah, and we missed Keir White is actually the first guy to get into the 129, so 29.9. Sticks his flag car on. Oh, and luckily for this race, he actually has his livery. As in previous races, he was just using his teammates as it wasn't quite in the mud yet. So it's christening that livery nicely. Provisional pole right now by 1.5 tenths. And I'm currently aboard with Lucas Schmidt, currently in P3. Being a pretty okay first couple of sectors. In fact, we've got Robin Panzart as well, who I think is just up the road. So we'll know as I click on him, wins his lap, so that is not going to be an improvement for Panzart, but Lucas Schmidt still going to the penultimate corner, using all the road he can, and out into this last corner. Oh, and he mucked up the braking zone, and that, unfortunately, his lap gone. And Dylan Scrivens, who was actually impressive last time out in Suzuka, both in Ace, and then he went into the World Championship, and he was almost, I think, P5 until he ran out of again. So certainly an improving driver is Dylan Scrivens. And he comes around the corner, currently in P9. Can he improve his lap time? It's a long run to the line. Start off the grid boxes. And he stays in P9.
He did improve, however. He improved his lap. It just wasn't quick enough to put him ahead of David Rodger, who's ahead of him. However, look at Viktor Ivanov's lap. He suddenly pulled something out of the bag here, especially in the second sector. His first sector was about 3 tenths down. His second sector is the fastest of anyone so far. Ivanov, into the gravel, and he spins it around. We saw him doing that on a previous lap, not quite so dramatically, but Ivanov obviously making a very similar mistake this time and backing it into the barrier. There's obviously more to come from Viktor Ivanov, so we'll see if he can pull that out of the bag later on in the session. Across the line comes Yuri Siravatsky. That's a slight improvement, I believe, but no improvement in terms of positions. He stays 13th, as Jeffrey Fournier improves his lap and stays 4th.
Yeah, Tom Van Egmond also sneaked up into P6 there. Driver who's had a somewhat disappointing year. Almost won the race back in Canada, but unfortunately had a wheel issue and did not. Covering a little bit since then, not best performances. And this is David Mudchek. He's actually getting a bit of a tow to the line. Can he find an improvement as he goes up to P6? David Mudchek actually got a tow there off. It must have been Giordano Valeriano starting his lap. As we see him come through Sector 1 now. Followed him for earlier, these wonderful flowing corners. They just sort of get slower and slower as you work your way up to this chicane of turn 8 and 9. really hard exit that, because you have to go really wide, but not go so wide, because you still have to get it to the left for this kink, down to this hairpin. Get a nice wide entry, straight as you can on the apex, flat out, because this is a massive straight, one of the longest on the calendar. About 2.5, sorry, almost 1.5 kilometers. Down here to the braking zone. Pick your braking zone. Try and make very tight. It's almost a hairpin actually. So we at his sec times, he's actually not special, but he does have a car just ahead. Maybe you can try and get a slipstream. Put out of the way. That's Tom Van Egmond in that car. Getting out of the way. Around these wonderful, easily flat out in modern cars. Thick left. You can use all of. It's an exception for today. This way around the final corner and up to the line with the DRS. Can he make an improvement to his time? Currently in 8th position. And no, he does not improve his time. Danny Van Den Neet is. And he is coming to the
Danny
line.
Van Den Neet
He goes to P10.
10th place there, yeah. Slight disappointment at the same time for Kian White. He was improving his pole position time in the first sector, and then slightly cut one of the corners in the S's before going sideways and abandoning the lap. So Kian White there losing out on an opportunity to go even quicker. However, that he's still well and truly on for pole position here as we're approaching the end of the session. So if no one else beats him, I'm sure he won't be too disappointed with that. But sometimes that can be the difference between pole position and a worse grid slot. But anyway, Lucas Schmidt, meanwhile, championship contender, going for gold here with a quick first sector. He's just going down the back straight now. You'll see the DRS opening on the rear wing as he blasts it forwards. Look at the top speed of, what's it going to reach? 205 miles per hour, braking down into the complex. That's the corner, turn 12, not turn 10, as I said earlier, which means that the corner I called turn 15 is actually turn 17, just to confuse everyone. But anyway, Lucas Schmidt, slight bit of oversteer as he accelerates out of the arena section, but nothing too dramatic, and it's still a relatively quick lap. I don't think it'll be on for pole, but it might be on for second. Robin Panzer, meanwhile, also going quicker in the other ACR car. But we'll see what does Schmidt set as he goes across the line. It is an improvement, but doesn't move him up. What about Robin Panzer? He's crossing the line behind him. Panzer moves up as well, but doesn't pass Kian White. Panzer goes with a 130.031. That's just 0.034 off Kian White, our pole sitter, and White is now emerging from the pits for another chance.
And Davin Motrek as well, coming around the final corner. Oh, big slide. That is, and he's gone all the way off the track. That is, yeah, that lap's gone, mate. Hope to see you later. He, made a mistake in the final corner. Screwed up the braking. He did all that work, but he couldn't make it around the final corner. But Dylan Scrivens has, currently in P11. Picking him up earlier. Can he show an improvement? Yes, he goes up to P number 10, and there comes out some cars for their final laps as well, but Victor Ivanov now, so working his way around this final sector.
Meanwhile, Jeffrey Fournier goes up to third, demotes Lucas Schmidt, so a good lap from Jeffrey Fournier. In fact, neither of our championship contenders this year, Schmidt or Valeriano, have been very good qualifiers. It tends to only be in the race where they gain time back. Lucas Schmidt has actually not won a race this season. He's finished second on several occasions, but he hasn't won one. Meanwhile, one of the Netrex cars, it wasn't Van Der Neet, so that would have been Victor Ivanov, crossed the line and immediately burst into flames. So maybe
the engine is very limited on this track, because when you're in your quali mixture, it's designed so you can basically only do a lap, so that it's not really used in the race. But obviously you have to judge your shifting points and your radiators correctly, and it's actually very close at this track between two of the radiator settings. So he was obviously running it quite tight, and luckily he got off the line, so he still managed to set his lap. But we're on board with Kian White right now. Currently your pole position sitter, however, he needs to get around this final lap and hope he can make an improvement if Robin Panzer does.
Oh, look at that commitment through the S's. Possibly a bit too much commitment. That wasn't the ideal line through there. But look at this. Just flying over every corner. Keeping it within the lines, I think, just on the exit there. As he exits the first sector. And that was a quick one, in fact. That was a very quick one. That's his personal best, in fact. So White going quicker still. I'm looking down the order as well. There are a couple of other guys to keep an eye on, including Danny van der Neer. But let's watch Kian White on this, which will probably, very possibly, be the pole position lap. As he's just going into the second sector now. Cameron, you're the expert on this. He's doing everything right, isn't he?
Yeah, so looking like a very good lap. And for instance, he was holding 5th gear through... can't remember what corner, I think it was turn 9, which is very good to get a nice exit. So he's certainly right on the limit. Not the best third sector so far through those couple of hairpins. Maybe feeling the pressure a little bit. However, he has won 2 races, in fact, and actually he abandons that. That third sector was not very good. But Robin Panzer has got purple in this first sector with a 19.067, 2/10 faster than Fournier and Schmidt, who are also on laps. Giordano Valiano, who's actually a bit further up the load. Let's quickly watch him through this third sector. He's on an improvement. He really needs to focus on getting some half-decent points today because Lucas Schmidt is seemingly 5 places up the road right now. And he's coming around this final corner.
The checkered flag has come out. This is absolutely essential for these drivers. They aren't going to get another opportunity here. And... with a purple first sector from Robin Panzer, he loses about a 10th to White in the second sector. David Mrocek moves up into 3rd position there. Mrocek up to 3rd. Kiersmaker's up to, well, it was 6th. It's now 7th. Branansky up to 14th. But we're still watching Robin Panzer in the final sector. He's made a mistake and he's not going to get pole position here.
But Jeff Fournier just behind him. Very quick last time out. Seemingly very quick here as well.
Schmidt to 3rd.
Coming round the final corner, taking an interesting line, and he does not improve. So last man out on track is Ton van Egmond, who does not complete the lap. So Kian White is your pole sitter for United States Grand Prix.
Well, that was fantastic. I tell you what, Schmidt setting a 1:30.057 just in the right at the end there. Van Egmond was going to go quicker than his lap, but I'm afraid he's on fire as well. So not quite giving enough radiator to that car. But anyway, yeah, 0.060 was the gap between 1st and 3rd in that session. And it's Kian White who takes pole position from his rival Robin Panzer in 2nd. In fact, 2nd, 3rd and 4th are all ACR cars. It's Panzer, Schmidt and Rodger. And then Fournier, Ivanov, Kiersmakers. Valeriano only 8th, the championship leader. Then it's Ton van Egmond, Dylan Scrivens, Danny van der Neer, Cheyenne Neyer, Yuri Seravatsky, Martin Branansky, George Chatsapantelis, Phil Crace, and then starting from the pit lane will be Mark Behrens. Those are your 17 drivers in order. I tell you what, although the championship positions aren't looking good for Lucas Schmidt, that qualifying might be a bit of a relief for him there.
Yeah, that was quite an interesting qualifier. I should say, Valiant not having the best. He's a few positions behind his championship rival. However, he only needs to not let Schmidt get 15 points ahead. So I think if he finishes about 5th place, he'll win it, whatever. But, you know, we'll have to see. And we see in a few minutes. We're just going to take a quick advertisement break. And we'll be back to run you through the predicaments at where Valiant needs to finish if he is going to win this championship today. So we will see you in a couple of minutes.
Hey man, I got that new TMX Thrustmaster wheel. It's going down.
Xbox One?
I can't wait to play when I get home.
Yo, let me play?
Yeah, I play first. Yeah.
You know, I'll race it for it.
Well, I have a hand.
Will not keep it up.
Whoa, great! Oh no, big mistake! I had to go back last and down to 10. No, he's an enemy conference.
It has been an absolutely astonishing season.
Hello everyone and welcome back to round 11 of the Formula SimRacing X Championship from 2018. We're still at the Circuit of the Americas and we only have about 4 or 5 minutes until we will be going for the formation lap for this race. We've just been talking actually behind the scenes about the championship standings and how they affect this race. So if Lucas Schmidt finishes anywhere outside of the top 3, that means the championship automatically goes to Giordano Valeriano. So Valeriano has definitely got the best chance here, especially seeing as if Valeriano finishes anywhere in the top 7, Valeriano automatically wins the championship. So realistically, Schmidt's only hope is to finish on the podium with Valeriano having an absolute dog of a race. There you go.
Yeah, it's pretty simple. As you say, Valeriano just needs to be about seventh place, and then he will win no matter what anyway. And that is going to be the goal for him today. He's probably not going to be focusing on Schmidt, as he's already starting to 8th place anyway. So it's going to be interesting. We'll have to keep an eye on that to see what Schmidt could do, because obviously Schmidt's got a couple of quick people in front of him, like Keane and Robin, who I'm sure themselves are just going to be going for the race win. So I think we're looking at a very interesting race, and we're going to have to try and keep up with stories as the race progresses.
Yeah, certainly. Of course, if they finish like they are now in the championship, so that would be 3rd for Schmidt, 8th for Valeriano, where they qualified. That would give the championship automatically to Valeriano, because that would be a 10-point difference, and Schmidt needs to score 16 more points than Valeriano. And as a result, this is definitely looking good for Valeriano, especially seeing as he tends to make up positions in the race. He usually qualifies actually anywhere from 5th to 10th, but tends to finish in the top 3, which is why he's so high up in the championship. Because even though he's not necessarily a particularly fast qualifier, he's very good and very consistent in the race. He keeps his tyres cool. He gets the strategy right. He is a very good overtaker, and as a result, that's why Valeriano is near the front of the championship. Also, Lucas Schmidt himself isn't the quickest in the series, and in fact, as I said, hasn't won a race yet this year, but he's finished second rather, on 4 of the 10 occasions we've had so far this year, which makes him very consistent and has put him second in the championship so far. Interestingly, third in the championship is Davide Schiappini, who isn't actually here. So I'm afraid we've lost one of the big names in the championship for this round, and I'm afraid that means that the third place battle in the championship, which was looking very close between Schiappini, Van der Neert and Ivanov, is going to become just between the 2 NetRex cars. Talking of the 2 NetRex cars, though, the teams championship is open between NetRex and ACR. It would be a 3-way battle with Musto racing as well. However, Musto, I'm afraid, only have 1 driver here today, and that 1 driver is Giordano Valeriano himself. But NetRex, of course, have 2 drivers in Victor Ivanov and Danny Van der Neert, and ACR also have 2 drivers in Schmidt and Rodger. Ignore the other ACR cars, the ACR engineering cars of Panzer and Keersmakers. They may be run by the same team, but they're not the same entry under the team's championship.
Yeah, that's just how it goes in Ace in the Pro Championship. There's effectively ACR 1, ACR 2, ACR 3, etc., whatever they want to call the specific team. So they are obviously under ACR banner. They'll probably have the same setup and strategy, but in terms of the constructors, you only have 2 people per team.
Away we go then on the formation lap for this race. It's going to be 42 laps of the Circuit of the Americas, and it's going to be Kian White leading us around at the start from Robin Panzer, Lucas Schmidt, David Rodger, Jeffrey Fournier, Victor Ivanov, Laurent Keersmakers, Giordano Valeriano. Ton van Egmond has stalled on the grid. He's still sitting there, I'm afraid, so there's a problem with Ton van Egmond. Behind him, Dylan Scrivens, who's now moved up, so Van Egmond, I think, has left. Van der Neert is 10th, then it's Nayamp, Suravatsky, Branansky, Chatzapantelis, Kreis and Berens, and indeed we have lost Van Egmond. So 16 drivers here. Cameron, what are we expecting in terms of the strategy for this race?
I'm expecting anything, because from what we saw in the Pro, people used the super soft, people used the soft, people used the mediums, people did in the middle stint, people did supers in the middle stint. There's sort of anything you can do here, which is very good for strategy. The tyres are probably mostly going to be a 2-stop with the super soft and the soft. You go super soft, 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 or super soft, soft, super soft, something like that. But people might throw a spanner into the works and try and stay out an extra couple of laps, something along those lines, and just see where they end up, because it's a fairly long race of 42 laps. To some other races that we had last time out was 40 laps, so if you can push your tyres a little bit longer to run, as we saw in the Pro race, he got the track position and catch him up at the...
All right, thank you very much for that. The drivers are now in the 3rd sector. Kian White just seeing the track for the final time before he sees it in anger, leading the pack of cars around. That is, providing he can get away in front at the start of the race. Watch for Mark Berens starting from the pits. We didn't see his qualifying pace because he didn't set one, but he will be coming from the back as White, Panzer, Schmidt and Rodger lead the pack around. That's 3 ACR cars hunting like a pack of dogs. The flag-to-flag SimRacing car of Kian White out in front, just stopping in the first grid box. Notice how the first grid box is actually on the outside of turn 1, meaning that if White gets a bad start, that gives a really good opportunity for Robin Panzer to make up positions. So definitely watch out for that. It's going to be an interesting start to the race. And as everyone now lines up, we are ready to go. Watch for the lights at the front of the field. We have 5 red lights on the. Actually, I only see 4 red lights on the gantry there. But anyway, they're going to light up. And then when they go out, we will be ready to start this race. Here come the lights. Get ready for the start. Go! Away we go, and Kian White leads us away. Kian White puts the power down and leads up towards turn 1, but Panzer's going to the inside. He leaves his braking later. They're 3 wide for the lead, and Panzer gets it. Panzer leads into turn 1 from White. Rodger and Schmidt are side by side behind them. Schmidt has to back off. Rodger is third. So it's Panzer, White, Rodger, Schmidt. Then Jeffrey Fournier is in 5th, squirming around behind Lucas Schmidt. Notice the difference in tyres as well. Panzer on the softer tyre than Kian White, I believe, as I believe they've all made it through cleanly at the start there. That's a good clean start, and that's great to see as we head towards the second sector. Fournier going up to 4th. They're getting up the inside of Schmidt. They bang wheels once and twice, and they get out of the corner, still side by side, as they head down the back straight and towards turn 12. And Fournier gets it. Fournier gets the place. Can Schmidt do anything in the braking zone? He's not close enough. Jeffrey Fournier up into 4th position, as behind him, Mark Behrens loses a place, or gets a place rather, on George Chatzpantelis already.
That was quite a hectic start. In the back thing was Keersmakers. He had to go over the AstroTurf in the S's, as there just wasn't enough room. Luckily there was the runoff for him to go, but actually seemed fairly clean overall. Just a bit hectic with the cars that were going into such a one-line first sector. But Robin Panzer managed to get the jump on Kian White down into turn 1. Kian not best reaction time, I noticed. Slightly later than Robin and to get down the inside. Now it is all about whether Kian can actually stay with Robin. As we've seen in previous races, Robin's pace has been very, very strong. He's doing very well in World Championship last time when he replaced Chihaya, and he's also replacing him today. So we'll have to see what sort of pace he has later to World Championship race. But for now, see if Kian can actually keep up with CR car. So.
It seems we did miss a slight incident at the start. It wasn't that Keersmakers ran out of room in the S's, it was that he made full-on contact with Dylan Scrivens, and they both spun around in the mid-pack, just squirming and squabbling over the same part of road, and ended up coming together. But they're still both running. Scrivens in 11th, Keersmakers in 15th. The rest of the pack had to split to avoid them. Instantly, Ton van Egmond reports that his game crashed, I'm afraid, which is why he left the race at the start, and that's a big shame for Van Egmond, who's had... Oh, Shine, now I'm getting very sideways there while fighting Dylan Scrivens. I take it you saw that there. They made side-to-side contact, but still, both of them running and okay. But yeah, disappointment for Ton van Egmond, who's had pace in the past in this series. And should have started from 10th position here. So at the end of the second lap of the race here, it's still Panzer leading from White, but not by much. They will be in DRS range, or White will be in DRS range when the DRS is activated in a lap's time. So if White can just stick with Panzer, then it might not be his run over just yet. They're both... Actually, now that everything's loaded in, they are both on the same set of tyres. It didn't look like they were at the start, but that was just my game not updating in time. Keersmakers makes up another place. That's passing Martin Bradansky there. And as I look through the pack, it seems that there's only really 2 tyres being used at the start here: the super softs and the softs. And the top soft wearing runners are Kreis and Van der Neert in 8th and 9th.
Yeah, those soft runners are going to have a play later on in the race. But for now, this Jeff Fournier going down the inside of one of the ACR cars, David Mocek, down to at the end of the back straight. David's trying to hold around the outside, but yeah, not enough for him. So yeah, Jeff Fournier up into 3rd place. He's done well the last couple of races. Unfortunately, his 2-stop strategy didn't work last time out. However, I think everyone today will be doing a 2-stop strategy. So hopefully that... Maybe his tyre wear wasn't quite good enough last race, but today should be an issue if ever.
Yeah, quite possibly. Rodger there just getting past with the DRS there, and going up into third place as we end that lap. It seems that White's dropped back a bit there from Panzer. He's now over a second behind. The gap is 1.3, so not exactly an elephant's width. Well, actually, I don't know what I said there, but yeah, that not exactly a dominant lead for Panzer just yet, but White definitely dropping back a bit, more than an elephant's width. I don't know what that was all about, but anyway, it's still Panzer from White, and now Fournier is third. And can Fournier start attacking White for second position? The gap as they cross the line was only 0.4 of a second, 0.6 of a second rather, between White and Fournier. And then Rodger, Schmidt, Ivanov and Valeriano are following them through in one long chain.
Tell you what,
Again,
Jeff Fournier is actually going to have a look at Kian White here. He's very far back, but he's using some fuel mixtures or something, because he's got some massive overspeed, DRS as well, down the inside. That's 2 laps in a row. He overtakes someone at that corner, and Kian White as well couldn't quite hold around the outside. So that's Jeff Fournier now up into P2. So obviously he is thinking this is his tyres feeling good, and he wants to chase down Robin Panzer before he gets away from this little mid pack.
Yeah, fantastic there. Jeffrey Fournier charging in these early years. He seems extremely fast in a straight line, as that's how he's passed 2 people in a row. That's DRS assisted and possibly using a high power fuel mixture as well. But whatever the case, Fournier really flying. He's already up into second from 5th place on the grid, and we're only just about to start lap 5 of this race. So Fournier charging through the pack. His next target is the leader, Robin Panzer, about 1.4 seconds up the road. And well, will he go for the lead now, or will he start trying to conserve now that he's got second? We'll have to see. He still looks like he's really pushing to me.
Well, he did the purple lap, fastest lap of anyone last time round, which was a 35.2, which is some speed on the this opening stint, when most people are in the 1:36s. So he's a second quicker than most people out there. But obviously he was using some fuel mixtures, DRS, and all that to gain time down the straights. I was just looking at Valeriano, who's down in 7th place. This is exactly where he needs to finish the race, because Schmidt is only in 5th place.
We've actually had an incident further back. That was George Chatzipantelis going absolutely dive bombing into turn 1, trying to get past Lauren Keersmakers. I don't know what he thought was going to come of that one, except contact, and that is what happened. They both ended up facing backwards and dropping right to the back of the pack. But I tell you what, I've never seen anyone come from quite so far back without a brake failure before. But whatever the case, they're both underway again, and Chatzipantelis gets very sideways while fighting Martin Bradansky there for 14th position. This is a bit clumsy at the minute from George Chatzipantelis, and he's going side by side with Bradansky for 30. He spins. He goes sideways at least a half spin. Those rear tyres will probably be the shape of ball bearings by now.
Oh,
Whoa,
he's just spun it. Oh,
he
yes.
goes round.
He's overheated his rear tyres, basically. That is what
Goodness
that is.
gracious, yes, he has.
Yeah, he's. This is basically what happens when you push those rear tyres too far, and he's got them to a point where they're too hot, so he spun, so they get even hotter, and it's just a snowball effect, and he is now retired from this.
Yeah, he was not going anywhere near slow enough with those tyres there. He really needed to back off, and I don't know why he didn't see that after he had his second spin. Also out of the race, I'm afraid, is Dylan Scrivens. As into the pits comes Keersmakers. That'll be for damage repairs, being this early on, and he's actually going for an alternate strategy now. I don't think it is damage repairs. He's just decided to go for an alternate strategy. He switches to the mediums. That might be. Well, he's going to be running until right near the end of the race here. Now, what happened to Dylan Scrivens? Was that a separate accident?
No, he just parked it in the box. I didn't see anything on incident tracker, as in to contact, so maybe it was a bit earlier on in the race and he just obviously wasn't feeling it. However, you will see him later. Yeah. He is out in World Championship as a reserve again, as he was last time out. See what he can actually do. This is fastest guys that we have here in Formula SimRacing in about 2 hours time in the championship.
Well, he was running 10th at the time, so still on target for points. Of course, everyone who finishes this race will score points, but it seems that he just didn't want to continue for whatever reason. The car didn't seem necessarily damaged from what I saw, but I'm not entirely sure. I wasn't driving it. Meanwhile, Geoffrey Fournier is actually catching Robin Panter. He is still pushing, and he's now very nearly within DRS range here. And Kian White sticking with him as well. Kian White there still keeping it a three-way chain for the lead here. But anyway, yeah, Panter might need to look in his mirrors soon. Fournier's right with him. He won't quite get the DRS this time around, but I tell you what, he's taken half a second out to Panter in the last 2 laps alone. So Fournier won't well, he's not really taking his time here, is he?
No, he's. I think they're just not letting Robin get away. Is basically his idea, because obviously Panzer, as we know, one of the quickest drivers we have here. If you let him get out the front, he would start putting in those lap times and putting. And actually, in the background, you see the 2 ACRs. Lucas Schmidt goes down the inside of David Murchek, and that seems fairly easy. DRS and mixtures to get past there. That is Schmidt up into E4. As we said earlier, he needs to be on the podium no matter what.
I'm wondering
even
whether
have a hope of this championship.
I'm wondering whether that was pretty planned there, seeing as Schmidt does need to start gaining places quickly. Remember, they are both in the same team and both from the ACR squad. So Morchek not exactly making it difficult for Schmidt there, and of course he wasn't going to. Schmidt still not in contention for championship winning positions here. He needs to finish on the podium, and he needs something bad to happen to Valeriano. But as it stands, that's not going to be the case, and Schmidt needs to get a move on here as they complete lap 7 of the race.
I just seen Dylan Scrivens. He said basically the tyres were done and the suspension was done, so there was no point in him continuing. So as unfortunately came out, as we said a couple of laps ago, 18 cars in this race. Last driver is Lauren Kiersmakers, who is actually onto the medium tyres, so he's going quite far now and probably try and take only one more pit stop from here. Probably going to the super softs near the race, so we'll update on his strategy as we go.
It seems George Chatzipentelis reports in the YouTube chat, so sad I hit Lauren in turn 1. I realised after lap 1 my pedals biking again, even the clutch. Glad next race is the last of the season because I need new pedals. So it seems that a hardware glitch may be responsible for some of George Chatzipentelis' problems in this race here. But yeah, unfortunate to see him out of the race, and unfortunate that Lauren Kiersmakers got caught out in his incident as well. 14 drivers still running in this race, incidentally, out of the 16 we started with, and Kiersmakers is the last of those in 14th position. On his alternate strategy, though, he's the only driver to have pitted so far. Meanwhile, I've noticed that Geoffrey Fournier lost quite a bit of pace on that lap, and he's now actually dropping straight back to Kian White again. Yeah, Geoffrey Fournier lost about 7/10 of a second on that lap, almost 8/10 of a second. There may have been a mistake from Fournier, but Kian White is now right on him again. I'm not sure if White is going to push for an overtake yet, but I tell you what, he's going to have the DRS wide open in a straight line, so we'll see if he can get onto the back of Geoffrey Fournier, and if Fournier maybe used up too much of his fuel or of his tyres too early, because Fournier, I tell you what, is still dropping back now. He might have just overheated his tyres pushing at that pace, or something along those lines. We'll see, because in a straight line now, White will open the DRS. The DRS opens on the rear of the car as he slipstreams Fournier and goes to the inside of turn 12. That's going to be over before the corner. Kian White gets it up the inside, brakes nicely, and accelerates away in second position.
A nice move there. Quite simple. This straight is long enough that you can overtake fairly easily. However, if the person ahead is using their fuel mixtures, then it's not the easiest thing in the world. Obviously, Jeff Fournier not bothering with that one, just going to let Kian go. Panzer's actually got up the road a little bit. Oh, actually, Kian's gone all over the Astro on the entry. He's gone all over the gravel on the exit, and he's going to lose many positions. There goes one of the ACR cars. That must have been Schmidt, was that went past. So he is now down into
Well, it won't be
Time is
because
just
actually
update.
Jeffrey Fournier is in the pits. Fournier pits. But yeah, big mistake there for Kian White as Fournier goes onto the soft tyres. This will definitely be a 2-stop for Fournier. But yeah, big mistake from Kian White, and that's a shame to see. He's lost a couple of places in that. Meanwhile, at the same time, also as White was getting past Fournier, Ivanov was attempting to get past Marocek, but Marocek was holding him off vigorously in the arena section, and still Marocek holds off Ivanov, and that, of course, is primarily to stop Ivanov from getting onto the back of that team's prime hope in this championship, Lucas Schmidt, who's now up into 2nd position.
Yeah, that confused me a bit with Jeff Fournier pitting, because as I was on the cameras with Kian, it looked like he was going to lose a lot more positions than he did. And this is actually Victor Ivanov now. Even though the FSR head has the slipstream and DRS, he's going to try and use DRS as well, but couldn't quite make that happen. Victor Ivanov certainly thinking this is a time that he needs to overtake, as car behind Phil Kraus is on the soft tyres, but is still in this battle for the lead, despite starting at the back.
Yeah, Phil Kraus there making up plenty of ground at the start of this race, up to 6th already and less than 8 seconds behind our overall leader at the start here, and that's on the soft compounded tyre. So his tyres are still going to be well within their range in a couple of laps, whereas the guys ahead of him, they may already be losing tyre life. So, well, they will be. So
Jeff pit really early here because no one else has pitted, and Victor Ivanov now is going right down the inside. The DRS, that's going to be a nice simple move if he makes it to the apex, which he does, and actually lets Phil Kraus have a little look around the outside. Is he going to make it work? He's going to try to stick around the outside, go into turn 3 and 4.
Oh, that was more than just a little look. That was a round the outside overtake for Phil Kraus. Proper commitment, proper skill. And Phil Kraus gets 5th position.
Yeah, that was a really nice move by Phil Kraus, and just shows you what you can do when two drivers are being cooperative with each other, because he had a lot of trust in that ACR car.
Yeah, certainly, and Marocek did a good job of not running straight into him there, as it's so easy to do in the S's. But Phil Kraus gets away in 5th position and now starts hunting down Victor Ivanov, who has also just passed Marocek. Marocek loses two spaces in the space of 2 corners, as Valeriano now gets past Marocek. So Marocek losing even more ground, and Van der Neert's going to get him as well. Look at this. Marocek dropping like a stone. He needs to pit soon, surely. He looks as if he's lost all kinds of tyre life, and David Marocek, who started this lap in 4th position, is going to drop to 8th here.
Yeah, this must be his in-lap. His tyres are probably done. Basically, he's got nothing left. Tried to stay out an extra lap, and I wouldn't be surprised if he over to the left right now, which he does. Stays within the pit entry line, pit limiter, and I assume set up the soft compound tyres. That is the best strategy, as you can choose to use the softs later on if your tyre wear is bad, or set of supers. So it's gone on to the soft tyres. Quite way behind Jeff Fournier though. You can see Jeff background going up into turn 1. So this has fairly well for Jeff Fournier. Strategy he's doing.
Meanwhile, I've just seen Cheyenne Nayam and Martin Branansky going side by side into the final corner. Nayam got it there, but Branansky is close to his rear end. Meanwhile, Ivanov's had a spin. Ivanov has been off and into the barrier. Wow. So Victor Ivanov in the Netrex car making a big mistake on the exit of the S's, getting over the curb, lighting up the rear tyres, spinning it round into the wall. That's a big hit, and I'd be surprised if there wasn't suspension damage on that car now. And remember that Netrex is in a battle with ACR for the team's championship here. So that is dramatic. And I hope there's not too much damage to that car. He's lost plenty of positions. He's now in 7th position, and before that all happened, he was 4th. So lost 3 positions in that to Kraus, Valeriano, and Van der Neert. And
he's got a bit of suspension damage, but I'm surprised. I just got a replay of that. I'm surprised he's still got his wings, to be honest, or at least his front wing. That was a hefty impact into the tyre barrier line, but he's still going. It's a bit of a shame for him, really. Because, it was looking good, and
top 3 into the pits here. Panzer, Schmidt, and White up in, as is Ivanov.
Oh,
Damage there. But yeah, Panzer, Schmidt, and White. Oh, and did Schmidt miss his box?
No. He had the pit box ahead of Panzer, so he basically had to wait like half a second for Panzer to get out of the way effectively. So he lost a little bit of time there. He's out on his own. Kian White now coming out ahead of David Mocek. Hitted the lap before. So your race leader is Phil Kraus, who had a back of the grid penalty after. Actually, he didn't back of the grid. He just had a penalty, which ultimately meant to the back of the grid. Last time out in a lap 1 incident. Hasn't really come to his full potential yet in the X Championship, but on his alternate strategy today could something out as Geordie Road Championship strategy softs first.
Well, I tell you what, he has shown a mega first stint here, Phil Kraus, doing a mega first stint and climbing several positions from right at the back to right near the front. And I tell you what, he was legitimately racing some of the higher drivers for places there before the pit stops. This isn't just an alternate strategy. This is effectively. Or this could effectively be the race lead if he pulls this strategy off. Phil Kraus is well and truly in this race here.
He got ahead of Valeriano because Valeriano is coming in now for his first pit stop, and Phil Kraus is actually ahead despite being on the softer tyres starting at the back. So he's obviously got some good pace today. Valeriano coming to the pit box nicely in front of the camera to these soft tyres as we expected. So the aim now for these drivers is really, can they stay out long enough to use a set of super softs at the end? That is the goal for the drivers. If not, they might have to bail out to another set of softs, but hopefully they can do a set of supers and be nice and racy at the end. So he is now just behind David Mocek and Kian White. So he hasn't lost an awful lot of time staying out, but that's put him in a position for the next few minutes.
I'm wondering whether the soft tyre might be slightly quicker at this track. It might just be that the super soft tyre overheats far too readily, because Kraus was gaining so many positions at the start there, and just catching the harder tired or the softer tired runners, and
that is
clawing
sort of
through
how
the field
it's
like a hot knife through butter.
Yeah, that's sort of how it's seemingly working at this track. The soft tyres, I think, is just the better race tyre because you can sort of lean on them a little bit extra. You don't have to worry so much about tyre life they have. Because with super softs, to do the stint lengths that you want, you have to be a little bit conservative. But with the softs, you can just do sort of 15, 16, 17 laps fairly comfortably. So I think some of the drivers will prefer to have those soft tyres now. Use this time to push. Jeff Fournier is certainly doing that. He made the early pit stop, and he's now... Well, he's a fair way up the road from Schmidt. So Kian White is now dropped well off pace. Kian White is, 5 seconds off Schmidt. So not the best pit stop sequence for a flag driver.
Yeah, remember how Mrocek dropped a long way behind White, and in fact the rest of them. Mrocek is now right on the back of White again, so White definitely losing time for whatever reason, and Mrocek now right back on him as they head through the S's, taking a much better line, in fact, much smoother, and gaining time with every corner is Mrocek. He might well go at White with the DRS as we head out of the next hairpin. We'll have to see. They've been through the DRS detection zone there, and the gap is just half a second. Now, what does Mrocek do with the DRS? It will open as soon as they cross the white line now. He opens it. He's going to be gaining with both the slipstream and the drag reduction system open on the rear wing. He goes to the outside. White defends the inside, but brakes slightly. Well, actually, I thought he braked slightly too late, but no cutback for Mrocek, and White stays ahead for this time round.
Yeah, that's the exact example of what I said earlier, where it's not overly easy to overtake if the guy ahead uses the fuel mixtures, but obviously, depending on how you're using your fuel mixtures, you might not be able to do that every single lap. So it is going to take a bit of effort. It's not going to be a slam dunk overtake, which is good for Kian to try and hold the position, because he's obviously not having the best time at the moment. But Danny Vantoni, he's in the pit lane. He's coming out Actually, sorry, he's right at the end of the pit lane. I thought he would have made a stop. So, oh, see, look, Danny is doing double softs. He is back onto the soft compound tyre. And where does he come out? Comes out just behind Valeriano. So this is, what, 8. This still puts him in a fairly good position. However, because he's done double softs, he isn't gaining as much now as the people who are going to do 2 sets of super softs in this race. But you'll be able to push a long way into this race, have a very short stint at the end where he might be able to make up some positions.
Yeah, maybe. He's just emerged from the pits in 8th position on the road. We'll see how that translates into the effective order when everyone starts slotting into place. He's ahead of his teammate Ivanov with Ivanov's incident earlier on. But yeah, he lasted 15 laps. How much longer can Phil Crace last at the head of this pack? He's been running the super soft tyres for 16 laps now, the soft tyres rather, and that means, in fact, that means that it's going to definitely be an easy 2-stop for Phil Crace here, as he opens the DRS and goes for yet another lap. Still no pit stop because he's still putting in a decent pace. He won't be leading the race after this. In fact, I think he'll be about 6th or 7th when he comes out of the pits at the end of all of this. But it seems that Kraus definitely has, well, actually makes a slight error in the S's there, but it seems that Kraus still has control over his strategy and over that set of tyres.
Yeah, this is this is very similar to what I was saying Danny Van Der Neet's doing. He was just going to go as long as he can into the race because he knows he's got 2 super soft stints coming. But he's just going to be able to push to the end, but he wants to get to a point where he can just go flat out on the super softs. So he might as well lose a couple of seconds now and then just come flying at that top 6, top 7 battle that he's in later on in the race. I wouldn't be surprised if he comes in this lap because lap 17, 18 is a bit far really. He might start losing some time or using unnecessary time. See, he's still going fairly well. He's not really sliding that much. He's not really understeering. He's just sort of going around, obviously taking his tyres. But let's see if he comes into the pits this time around. He will to the super soft compound. If he does, yes, he is in the pits. So taking the lead will be Robin Panzer. Obviously, Panzer is best part of a pit stop ahead of him. So Kraus needs to get his speed on when he comes out of this pit stop. So I assume he's taking the super softs. Yep, there he goes onto to red super soft compound. Oh, almost stalls it coming out of the box. But where he's going to come out? Okay, so he's come out behind. Is that Valeriano? But ahead of Danny Van Der Neet. So this has worked out very well for Kraus, as he is now going to pull away from Danny Van Der Neet, soft compounds, and then he will also have the super softs later on. So if he can do this stint without killing his tyres, this is definitely a good strategy.
Yeah, Phil Kraus emerges in 7th position, just ahead of Danny Van Der Neet. Van Der Neet will have DRS though as they go on to the next straight. But yeah, Kraus has definitely done a great job so far in this race. Probably not in contention for the win. In fact, I think he may have pitted a couple of laps too late because on the previous lap to that, Panzer gained about 1.6 seconds on him, which just shows the advantage of the newer, softer tyre over the old one. But yeah, Kraus out in 7th, meaning the order is now Panzer, Fournier, Schmidt, White, Rodger, Valeriano, rather, Kraus, Van Der Neet, Ivanov, Behrens, Kiers Makers, Siravatsky, Nayam, and Branansky. That's after every driver, I believe, has now made at least one pit stop, and 14 drivers are still running in this race.
Yeah, so it's been a few laps since we mentioned it, but yeah, David Mocek is still not ahead of Kian White. So maybe he is fuel saving or something slipstream. But as we saw a few laps ago, he was very close to making a pass, but didn't quite work out. And 4 laps later, looking at the same story. So either Kian has the pace to David behind, or David is actually just sitting here quite comfortably, saving his fuel, waiting for a perfect opportunity rather than forcing something.
We're on lap 19 now out of 42, so not quite halfway through the race, nearing point, and every driver has pitted. That shows me that you're absolutely right with the 2-stop. We saw pretty much every driver doing the 2-stop strategy in the pro race earlier. The real interest with the strategy is going to be what tyres are put on and when. But at the minute, of course, we have most drivers on the soft compounded tyre, as Phil Kraus on the super softs gets past Giordano Valeriano. That's for 6th place. He gets past him into turn 12, and he needed to do that as quickly as possible for his strategy to work. So Phil Kraus back up into 6th place. His next target is David Mrocek ahead of him, and he'll be catching him quickly, I'm fairly certain. And it's only Kraus, Siravatsky, Nayam and Brunansky who are on the super softs at the minute, as Jeffrey Fournier, I forgot that Fournier hadn't pitted. Now he pits and goes on to...
This is his 2nd stop, though.
Ah, it is.
So
no, that's a
he's
lot
3-stopping. He is 3-stop. This...
As Mrocek gets past White. But yeah, Mrocek past White for 3rd. I really was not expecting Fournier to do a 3-stop, or anyone to do a 3-stop for that matter. Oh, as Van der Neert passes Valeriano for 6th. But yeah, Fournier, we saw last time out he pitted 1 time too many and couldn't make his tyres last. Will it be a very similar story here in America?
That is quite interesting, because I mean, I have to say, you know, as a driver myself, I'm not one of the best on. However, 2-stop strategy today was definitely the way to go, despite me not feeling too good with the tyre wear. But a 3-stop? I don't think that... Yeah, I'm not really sure that is going to work, but we'll have a look. He is 26 seconds off, so he's about 12 seconds behind Phil Kraus, but he has to make 1 more pit stop. So he's basically 12 seconds behind Phil Kraus, so not sure that's going to really work out, because I don't think he's going to have the pace advantage, because Phil is also on the super soft tyres right now. So maybe once again Jeff Fournier has done the best strategy pace that he has.
Yeah, certainly seems like it, and that's a big shame for Jeffrey Fournier, who is also a race winner in the GPVWC as well as several other championships. Meanwhile, let's watch as Kian White comes under attack from Phil Kraus, and Kraus slipstreams his way past.
Yeah, that was quite an easy manoeuvre. Kian didn't put up any sort of fight. He's just let his sister teammate go. Phil being in the main flag team, Kian moving up from pro into the flag engineering team in the light blue car. So they're obviously under the same organisation, no reason to hold each other up. The X Championship, there are no rules regarding that, so whatever they want. That is, as you say, now using his super soft tyres very well up in P number 4. And in fact, is he going to go for an overtake on David Mrocek? Is a just on the limit of what can be overtaken.
I think he will.
You can be on the limit of the distance to where you can do an overtake. That's what I'm trying to say. But he is actually trying to hold it around the outside now. And on the inside, very, very close. Yes, there's a lot of sliding going on here. And he definitely wants this
tire contact there.
Definitely wants this position. And he can't find a way through here. I saw Johan Kwiku and Peter Berlak go side by side around here. But Phil decides not to, and waits for the DRS zone to make an overtake.
Yeah, sorry for interrupting. There was definite tyre-to-tyre contact there through the arena section. Extremely exciting, and now he's going to get it well and truly as he goes down the straight. This is going to be easy. There he goes with the slipstream, with the DRS. Phil Kraus up into 3rd position. And makes the corner stick. Mrocek almost runs into the back of him. Phil Kraus now needs to hunt down Lucas Schmidt in 2nd place.
Yeah, Mrocek did everything he could to keep that position, but No, that is Phil Kraus up into 3rd position on pace, on strategy from very back of the grid. So this has worked out very good for Phil. However, he is a little bit off lead. He's 14 seconds off the lead, 7 off Schmidt, as you see up the road. So if he is to win today, he's going to have to be best part of a second, about 3/4 of a second quicker every lap for the rest of this race compared to Robin Hansart. So we'll have to see how he does on that. But certainly a podium is looking today. Should he be able to speed up?
This is fantastic for Phil Kraus as he now starts to chase down Lucas Schmidt. There's a big gap between them, about 6.3 seconds at the minute. Rodger trying to keep with him, but that's not exactly, that's not going to work. I was saying earlier that it seemed like the soft tyre seemed to be the better tyre to be on in the race. Phil Kraus can just make any tyre work, and very, very, very well indeed. He's away like a rocket. Remember that he started right from the back of the grid. That's forgetting Mark Behrens, who started from the pits. But yeah, great race so far from Phil Kraus. Although even better so far has been Robin Panzer as we're passing the halfway point in the race now. Panzer still leading this race by 7.777 seconds from Lucas Schmidt. And then Kraus, Rodger, White, Van der Neert, Valeriano, Fournier, Ivanov, Behrens, Kiersmakers, Nayam, Suravatsky and Brunanski at the halfway point in the race. Panzer leads it.
I'm just having a look at Jeff Fournier to see if he's trying to make this 3-stop work. And I mean, yes, he is about a second a lap quicker than the likes of Kian, Danny, David, etc. But compared to Phil Kraus, he was only about half a second quicker this time round. So I think Jeff Fournier can probably get back up to about P45. It's going to be a tough ask for him to do any more than that.
So Kian White has caught up again to the back of David Mrocek. Mrocek only just passed him a couple of laps ago, but White now on the back of him. It seems that Mrocek does seem to use up his tyre life or his fuel really quite quickly, and he starts to lose time towards even the middle of every he does. But yeah, still about 0.8 of a second between them. Also, don't forget about Danny Van der Neert, who's only just behind them as well, and also opens the DRS as he goes down straight behind them. So these three very close, as Laurent Kiersmakers passes Cheyenne Nayam for 11th position. He's on a recovery drive in ACR car there. Laurent Kiersmakers, who has been a member of this league for over 10 years now, running 11th place.
Yeah, he went away for a few years and just popped up a couple of months ago, or a couple of races ago even, and he's joining the ACR squad, just getting back into the swing of things. Yeah, he was racing FSR well before I even knew what it was, because it was that long ago. And Sean Najam actually might be having a look to get back past here into turn 1, but Kiersmakers does a defensive move. However, Najam is on the super soft tyres, so it's a bit easier for him on the brakes with a better grip, and that is him back into P11.
And Kian White up the inside of David Mrocek, tyre-to-tyre contact again in the arena section. And will it be again? Very close. Mrocek kicks it sideways and forces White to give the place up for now. But White dives! That was very, very risky there. And I'm surprised that Mrocek saw him, and I'm very glad that Mrocek saw him. They're now going to make tyre-to-side pod contact through the long turn 17, 18, and they've just been beating each other up for this whole lap here. Mrocek stays ahead but goes very sideways. Kian White's going to get him on the exit. He opens to the DRS. This is going to be easy for Kian White now, as Mrocek has to concede the place. He slides through the final corner and loses that position. As talking of losing positions, Kiersmakers loses one to Suravatsky. I was actually commentating his first race back after his massive, almost 10-year break. He joined a little rFactor 2 Dutch league called the WCS League, and I was commentating that as he took pole on his first race back. So he definitely still has it in him. He's just had a very disappointing race so far with a couple of incidents, and is now running in 13th position. Meanwhile, look at Danny van der Neert on the back of David Mrocek up the inside, and he makes it stick on the curb. Whoa, Mrocek gets sideways, and up into 5th goes Danny van der Neert. As into the pits now comes Laurent Keersmakers. Remember that he switched onto the medium compound of tyres very early on in the race. We knew that he was going to have to make another stop. In fact, this might end up being a 3-stop for Keersmakers as well. No, it won't be, because he goes on to another set of the mediums. So he'll be going to the end from here.
This battle in the midfield is just basically let Jeff Fournier catch up. He's now on the back of this group, and he's obviously still got one more pit stop to make as well. So when I thought it wasn't going to work, it actually might do. He's actually up the inside of turn 18 on Valeriano, and that is him. That's him gone past. So he is now up into 7th place. And if he can make it to the front of this group, this 3-stop might actually work for him, which is quite interesting. And he's gone past Valeriano, and he might actually get past the ACR of David Mrocek down into turn 1. He hasn't quite got the top speed, but he's on the brakes down the inside, and there he goes. That's 2 positions in 3 corners for Jeff Fournier, up into 6th position. And he's actually making this work because of battling that has happened ahead of him. However, he is still some way off Phil Kraus, who is actually only 3 seconds off Lucas Schmidt. As we now look at it, let's jump to Kraus, and he's making his way towards Lucas Schmidt on this alternate strategy. He's away massively from Kian due to the massive battle that they've had over the last lap. So this is a 5-car train. P4 to P8.
Yeah, this is fantastic. Watch them slipstreaming down the start-finish straight.
Danny's going to have a look at this, actually. Danny's going to have a look down the inside at the end of the back straight, leaving just enough room for Kian on the outside. That is very tight. Kian knows how to battle hard as well. Going to do a very similar thing at the next corner, and that is Danny out on the curb. Can't quite get the traction, and Jeff Fournier might actually have a look down the inside, but no, Danny's trying to have a look on the inside himself on Kian White. They're all going for the positions now, and side by side into turn 16. Jeff Fournier might actually get up the inside like he did, possibly using some mixtures, but no, backs out of it just, and Danny van der Neet keeping that position. This is very difficult. Oh, he's actually run wide now, so Jeff Fournier is going to get on the inside. He'll have DRS as well on the exit. So will Danny, due to being close to Kian. See them come up into turn 1. Can Danny make the move? No, he decides to stay behind. But Jeff Fournier, big lock-up. So Jeff Fournier is really having to push to use the tyres while he still has them. As obviously they'll drop off a lot quicker than the soft tyres. And he'll probably be hitting at similar time to the people around him. So yes, he is up into P5 ahead of Danny van der Neet. He's lost a lot of time to his teammate. Surprised to see him pick laps time. So I have to do a double soft strategy as he's already struggling with his tyres.
I'm surprised that that van der Neet didn't go for it into turn 1 there on Jeffrey Fournier, because he definitely eager to pull a dive bomb manoeuvre on Kian White, as shown now on pits from 12.
Yeah, Fournier's gone past Kian now. That was fairly simple. He was too close. No point Kian defending overly hard. Down the inside, makes the apex, and that is him now up into the number 4.
Also behind them, Mrocek and Valeriano just went side by side and made contact. They made wheel-to-wheel contact in the arena section, but have both got away with it in the same positions as they went into that. And into the pits from the lead come 2 of the ACR cars, Panzer and Schmidt, both pit. That gives Phil Kraus a clean road ahead of him. Panzer and Schmidt did pit. They're now both exiting. Panzer on another set of super softs. Can he go to the end on those? And Schmidt also going for another set of super softs as well, as David Mrocek in the 3rd ACR car pits on exactly the same lap.
This has worked out well for Panzer. He has got out ahead of this group of Fournier, White and Danny van der Neet. So all that battling has actually meant that Panzer has been able to have a clean outlap. This is not for Lucas Schmidt regarding the race win, as he's now got a clean track, and Schmidt is going to catch up to this group. So he's actually lost a bit of time. Did Lucas Schmidt. But yeah, he's got to get past all these cars when Robin Panzer is ahead of them.
Well, this is 14 laps on the Supersofts they're attempting at the end here, so this is going to be really quite difficult.
And
But
getting past Kian White. Again, he was just too close. No point in Kian overly aggressively defending, as Danny was always going to get past that, the extra top speed. So these drivers were going to be looking to pit and follow what Robin Panzer's done. Give the about 14 laps to the end, give or take. Which lap hit on?
Someone's pointed out in the chat, Remco Major TCLF has pointed out that Mark Behrens has had pretty much the loneliest race in 9th position there, as into the pits comes Phil Kraus from the lead. Phil Kraus, remember, he will only have to do this one more stop. This will probably be for the Supersoft tyre, and he can push from here. Kraus goes, yeah, I believe he is staying on the Supersofts, as will, well, Valeriano's pitting on the same lap, so he will probably do the same thing. And remember that if Valeriano finishes in the position that he's been in this race so far, he will be crowned champion at the end of this race. Valeriano goes onto the Supersofts. He will go to the end from here as Panzer takes the lead back, although behind him is Jeffrey Fournier, who still needs to pit. Also, Van der Neert and White both also need to pit as well. They're in 3rd and 4th on the road. So a couple of drivers out of position at the minute, but I believe, yeah, Phil Kraus has jumped a couple of people there. That means that effectively it's going to be Panzer, Schmidt, Kraus at the end of this.
Yeah, that worked out quite well for the leaders, to be honest, because that battling has meant that gained some time, and once Jeffrey, Danny and Kian pit probably this lap or next lap, they're going to have quite a clean run to the finish, and it's just about managing their own tyres. But these guys in the midfield are going to have to really battle for their positions. Might not have tyres later on in the race, but this 3-stop from Jeffrey seems like it might actually work out in the end. It's probably pitting shortly as well. Not quite now. Does Danny come in? No. Does Kian come? Yes, he does. So Kian is coming in. I would assume, like his teammate Phil, taking Supersoft tyres. First pit box. Soft tyres go on to the Irishman's car. He's away. Bit of a bog on the exit, but he's away.
Kian White.
Phil is already.
Yeah, Kian White losing a place there to Phil Kraus. Will David Mrocek go through? So that means White will come out behind Mrocek ahead of Valeriano. There we go. Yeah, White slots into place behind Mrocek now, and he has all of that work to do. Again, White and Mrocek have been fighting each other for this entire race so far. They've been side by side for a significant portion of it. And remember as well, Kian White started from pole position, dropped back a bit at the start, found himself with David Mrocek, and they just haven't been able to lose each other since. That's how the story of the race has gone for those two. And for Panzer, he's just been able to keep it clean and run away with it from then on.
Yeah, despite there not being the most cars in the world at this race, the strategies that are going on are quite interesting. As I said on Nation Lab, there's so much you can do with strategy here, and they've done something pretty different with when they use the harder or the soft compounds, what they use in general, 2 stops, 3 stops, etc. And you don't really know what's quite going to happen now, because Fournier and Danny Van der Neert are coming into the pit box. Obviously, they're going to come out somewhere around Kian White, who's coming round turn 16. So David Mrocek, forgot about him, just ahead. See where they come out. So this puts back into a podium of Panzer, Schmidt and Kraus. That is now the race for P4. And there goes Fournier. Danny coming out just behind, both on the Supersoft tyres. And where is Mrocek? It's going to be very close on the pit exit. The Nerex and the Oromia car come out ahead. So this is now just a straight battle to the end for 4th position in United States Grand Prix 2018.
Yeah, Fournier making his pit stop as we all expected him to do, and he's now come out just ahead of Danny van der Neert in the Netrex car. Van der Neert and the Netrex team need as many points as they can here. The championship is swinging certainly in the way of ACR. I don't think they'll quite claim it today, just off the top of my head, but it certainly isn't looking good for Netrex. The other team technically in contention for the title is Musto. However, their only driver in this race is Valeriano, and he's going to finish 8th if it finishes like this, which means that that team will be well and truly eliminated from the running for the overall teams championship. It definitely between ACR and Netrex here. There's only one round left in this championship. That will be at Sao Paulo in Brazil in a couple of weeks' time. So don't miss that one, as that will show us the eventual order in all 3 championships, Pro, Ace, and World Championship. But for now, we've still got 11 laps, 10 and a bit laps left in this race here today. It's been an exciting race, strategy, and on-track battling, and it's not over yet, as Van der Neert is still hunting Geoffrey Fournier for 4th position.
And looking at the results, the potential results right now, I think Valeriano does not win it because Schmidt is in P2, but Valeriano, actually no, I think Valeriano has to be top 10. I will just quickly double check that, but I'm not entirely convinced Valeriano has this just yet. Robin Panzer,
well,
last time did a purple lap, a 33.7.
There would actually be 13 points separating the two of them at the minute, which means that that would be the championship to Valeriano. So it wouldn't be kept alive to the final round. But still, there's time for things to go wrong for Valeriano. I'm not trying to curse him or anything, but that could happen.
Especially when Phil Kraus is now just behind him.
No, that's Schmidt that Kraus is chasing there. Kraus chasing Schmidt for 2nd position. He's actually almost a second behind him now. So Schmidt and Kraus is a battle that's really heating up. And Kraus might be about to attack 2nd from 16th on the grid, just 32 laps later. This is a brilliant drive from Phil Kraus. And indeed, he's on the back of him now. He's got the DRS open. He won't pass him quite yet, but I tell you what, Kraus is flying here.
Oh, and Danny van der Neert got past Jeff Fournier on the last, because Jeff Fournier was leading this group, wasn't he? Danny van der Neert got past Jeff Fournier on the last lap. We unfortunately missed that, but they are now battling. And Kian White is going to hit. Yes, he's half spun himself. He's going to hit David Mocek, and that is not going to do his tyres any favours. Sliding, he would have lost a few percent there. This is just letting Valeriano catch up a little bit as well. But yeah, Kian is struggling a little bit in this race, having started from pole position. And slightly desperate move there. Looked a little bit late from the camera angle that we had. And yeah, lost a little bit of time. Might not actually get DRS this lap either.
And watch Phil Kraus. He's going to not quite get Lucas Schmidt here. He got very close, and I was expecting him to possibly pull a move this time round, but not quite yet. However, I think this is pretty much inevitable unless Schmidt is a masterclass of defence. We'll have to see. Phil Kraus really pushing in the flag-to-flag car, as he's going to have even more DRS as we go down the straight this round. Sorry for interrupting that.
Yeah, and that's all right. There's 2 battles going on at the moment, and this, for Lucas Schmidt, this is championship or not, because if Phil gets past, then 100% Valeriano is going to win. But if he can keep P2, there's always that hope for him that something might happen to Valeriano. Phil Kraus, again, just going to stay behind, going to wait for the perfect opportunity. He's got 9 laps left, doesn't need to rush this. He knows he's got
the incredible
quicker car
thing
right
is, at the start of this race, Schmidt could have won the championship if he'd finished 3rd, if Valeriano finished 15th or lower. However, Valeriano cannot finish 15th because 15th has retired, meaning that now Schmidt has to finish in the top 2 to keep the championship alive, no matter what happens. And that means that Phil Kraus here is going to be his worst nightmare at the minute.
Yeah, Phil is definitely playing a part in this championship, although he gets very sideways on the exit there, trying to get the power down. But yeah, this lap is not going to make an overtake. In fact, he's quite far back. And it seems Schmidt actually is saving some fuel there.
And there's been an incident. David Rodger is backwards. He was running 6th. He's kicked it out over the curb. He's had a big switch at the top of the hill. He's tagged the barrier with his rear wheel, but he won't get any damage from that. It was a tiny hit. However, that's going to have ruined his tyres, and he's dropped behind Valeriano.
Yeah, just got a quick replay of that. Actually, a bit of an illegal overtake by Valeriano actually on the outside there, but yeah, he just lost it on the exit of turn 9, as we saw Victor Ivanov do earlier. However, didn't quite hit the barrier in the same way. Valeriano got past through the kink of turn 10, and yeah, not the best. Actually, that's sector 2, so not the best sector 2. David Mrček there. He's been a little bit disappointing this season, David Mrček, but he's shown some really good pace, and unfortunately, that little mistake has meant that now down into P8, which puts Giordano Valeriano into P7. And as we said earlier, P7 means he wins no matter what Schmidt does. Schmidt can have a PC failure or anything like that, and Valeriano will have enough points to win the championship on his own merit. So that might be a championship deciding move as well, without meaning to, for David Mrček.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it was pretty much confirmed already, though. However, that's definitely made it even more likely now. Watch Phil Kreis. This is just going to rub salt into the wounds as he blasts his way past Lucas Schmidt and gets into 2nd position. Great race from Phil Kreis. And Lucas Schmidt is pretty much out of it here. Lucas Schmidt down to 3rd place, and he's only going to lose more time as his tyres start to go off. He pitted before Phil Kreis, and that is that for Lucas Schmidt.
Yeah, I don't think Schmidt's going to have much of an answer. Phil has looked like the faster driver. However, there is still 7 laps to go at the end of this one. So Phil just needs to make sure he doesn't ruin his tyres. He knows he has the lead now. In fact, he might get DRS here as well off the back marker ahead of him. One of the Neosoft cars gets out of the way rather nicely for the both of them. But as long as he can keep his tyres in check, he should have the pace to keep Schmidt behind. Jeff Fournier, once again, having a look at Danny Van Den Neat down into turn 1, but no, he lifts off. He's deciding to maybe help his sister teammate in the Constructors Championship, or something like that, but he's not getting past Danny Van Den Neat just yet.
So, on lap 36 of 42 in this race, it's Pansar leading from Kreis and Schmidt, then Van Der Neert, Fournier, White, Valeriano, Mrček, Ivanov, Berens, Nayam, Siravatsky, Kirsmakers, and Branansky, the 14 drivers still remaining in this race here. It's been a very exciting race, both from a championship point of view and a racing point of view, and it's not over yet. We've still got a couple of close races on the track here, and we've still got plenty of laps for things to change. Remember that every driver who finishes this race will score points, seeing as points go down to 15th place, and we only have 14 drivers still remaining here. So it's definitely worth finishing, no matter what happens to your car, especially if you're in a championship fight, like a lot of these drivers will be at this stage. And I'm just going to have a look back at Lucas Schmidt here, who has DRS again on the back of Phil Kreis. He's going to be feeling pretty desperate at this point in time. He knows that if he doesn't get back past Phil Kreis, his championship is over. However, it's pretty much over anyway, even if he does get past Phil Kreis, because Valeriano is 7th.
Yeah, so our race director and president, Chris Cobb, has got a graph that he has sent us to show the live championship. Unfortunately, can't show it on screen. However, I can tell you that as it stands, Valeriano will be 32 points ahead of Schmidt, and obviously it's 25 for a race win, so he would have enough going into the final race of the season in Brazil. And Danny Van Den Neat would go up into 3rd place in the championship as well, going past Chiappini, who unfortunately is not here today.
Yeah, it's a shame not to see Davide Chiappini here. He's one of the quickest championship and one of the best racers, but I'm afraid he has not made it in for this round. 3rd in the championship. he wasn't in contention for the overall title, but still, it's a shame not to see him fighting for that third place here this weekend. And that means that third place in the championship is going to go the way of Danny van der Neert, I believe. And yeah, Victor Ivanov's going to be close behind. DRS still opening on the back of Lucas Schmidt as he heads down the finish straight. Still too far back. He's losing time to Phil Kraus. Kraus maintaining the margin, but this looks like it's going to be the way it'll stay unless one of them makes a mistake towards the end of this race. Behind them as well, Fournier not really attacking near. He's very close and probably could attack if he wanted to, but it seems he's just hanging back for now in the Oromila Grand Prix car. You say they're sister teams, the Netrex and Oromila cars. Is that the case?
Yes. I mean, I think you can see on there's a Netrex logo somewhere. So Oromila is basically just a side entity of Netrex, and they have a team in Ace. Also have a team in Pro. Yeah, they're doing too well in their season in Formula SimRacing. Jeff Fournier is coming halfway through the season and actually done pretty well, to be honest. Is also racing in Super League, another rFactor 2 league, so definitely knows how to race open wheelers. Stepping into the Ace Championship, he's done pretty well straight from get-go, getting some decent points finishes. I remember in Hockenheim he did an alternate strategy and all the melee managed to get a good result as well. And then obviously last time out, Suzuka, unfortunately the pace for the extra stop didn't quite work out. But today it is, and he is now just following Danny. Not sure that is what it's for, because it looks like he definitely has the pace to stay in the dirty air for this many laps. So I'm sure he is just being a kind teammate and not wanting to fight too hard.
Well, despite the mistake on strategy last time out, he still managed to get his best result of the series so far. He's had a decent amount of bad luck, I'm afraid. He's also, as you said, running 6th at the minute in the GPVWC Championship as well, the Super League, which is a series that a lot of these drivers have also done. But here in Formula SimRacing Ace, he has a lot of potential and hasn't quite shown it so far, often going for very bizarre strategies or just generally making mistakes. He's a quick driver, but needs to get that consistency nailed for next time out or for next season, and then he can really begin to challenge. But he's currently running in 5th position, just supporting Danny van der Neert up ahead of him as the Netrex car fights for the team's championship. And it looks as if 5th is going to be where he'll stay unless Kian White catches up, or unless he decides he is going to go for 4th ahead of Danny van der Neert.
I tell you what, Lucas Schmidt has not let Phil go.
I was just about to say that.
He's still here. He's in the DRS, as we can see coming down into turn 1. However, Phil just got the legs on him on this particular straight, and I think I'm right in saying that Lucas Schmidt has a direct drive wheel, and you can actually tell with the movements that he makes. You can see it's quite jittery at fighting against him all the time. It's quite nice to see drivers with direct drive wheels and how it compares, because Phil Kraus has only got, he's got a G27, I think, which obviously is the trademark wheel for most people this decade. Just shows that wheels don't make hugest difference in the world. If you can survive, you have. And Schmidt now is a bit far away,
but Kraus is defending. I tell you what, yeah. Kraus is feeling the pressure late on in the race, and with just 2 laps to go after this one, will Schmidt launch a last gasp attempt, getting back into 2nd position. Schmidt will have the DRS as he goes down the straights. The gap, as they've been through the last couple of checkpoints, has actually been less than half a second. So Schmidt really following Kraus here, putting on the pressure, and Kraus definitely feeling it. Will there be a mistake from Kraus? Will there be an overtake from Schmidt? This is looking like an exciting end to the race, and I believe that Schmidt maybe just has conserved his fuel or his tyres to a better extent than Kraus has.
Gets very close in the braking zone, does Schmidt. But it actually seemed like Phil was short shifting a little bit. Obviously, wasn't under any threat. Felt he was okay. Wow, and he's... You can hear the amount of throttle that he carried through these sweeping corners. Nice to have a back camera there. And yeah, Phil's obviously pushing very hard. Wants to keep this second place, but I wonder how he's dealing with his tyres, because obviously he's on a strategy where he had double supers at the end, but he had to push quite a lot to get ahead, and he's already defending, and it looks like Schmidt's going to get past here. That overspeed is quite massive. Both drivers moving around a little bit on the straight, should really straight line as possible, but Phil decent on the brakes. Leaves space for Lucas on the outside though. Lucas is going to get the inside line to this first of the double hairpins. Bit awkward with kinks in the road. Oh, there's a bit of contact. There's Phil put
Golly,
off.
there's more contact. They're locked together on the exit. That's a disaster. Schmidt gets over the gravel and will not give up that place. I tell you what, it's the same outcome that we expected, just not in exactly the same way. And Kraus will possibly not be happy about that. How did that happen? That was quite dramatic there. That was Kraus just trying to hold on, and Schmidt not seeing him there and turning into the corner, and then Kraus not being able to slow it down and going into the front of Schmidt's car. To be honest, I think that's all on Phil Kraus there. But yeah, what a dramatic and exciting end to this race. We're now on the final lap, and that means that Schmidt has pretty much got that place there back up into second. It won't be enough to keep the championship alive. But yeah, that was a bit clumsy, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think the end result is fine. I think Phil was going to have to give up that position to Lucas Schmidt, which it looked like he did as he came onto the track quite far to the left to give him the room. And yeah, Schmidt got that place done, but unfortunately Phil couldn't make it to the corner, pushed him off wide, and on this last lap, he's a bit too far back, isn't he? So I think this is game, set, and match for Lucas Schmidt. However, you need to think about Robin Panzer coming around the final sector. Absolutely dominant performance he has done today. As he's shown really in the last couple of races, he is certainly, it seems, the quickest guy in the Ace Championship right now. However, through issues he had this season, he's not going to win championship. That looks like he's going to weigh a certain Italian, that will say very shortly. However, he comes around the final corner and he is going to win the United States Grand Prix in the Ace Championship. So well done.
Robin Panzer takes the win after 1 hour and 7 minutes of driving. Robin Panzer wins it, and Lucas Schmidt is going to make it an ACR 1-2. It's going to be ACR Engineering from the main ACR squad, with Schmidt second, and then third place, only just behind Phil Kraus at the end there after that dramatic finish. Remember that Kraus started 16th, so that's a fantastic race and an amazing use of strategy there from Phil Kraus. Danny van der Neert holds on for fourth place from Jeffrey Fournier in fifth. It's going to be Kian White, our pole sitter, having a very disappointing race to finish sixth at the end there. Seventh is Giordano Valeriano, who claims the championship. Giordano Valeriano claims the championship with seventh place there. He's beaten Lucas Schmidt. He's beaten everyone. Giordano Valeriano is the 2018 Ace Championship. Looking back at the race, though, Rodger is 8th, followed by Ivanov, who crashes straight into him. Then it's going to be Mark Behrens, who's going to... Well, actually, it's going to be a pretty close finish, actually, between Behrens, Nayam, and Siravatsky. We'll just see how that finishes. It's probably going to stay in that order, but we'll see anyway, because they're very close in terms of the actual order. Ooh, Nayam has a bit of a kick of... In fact, they're all having a bit of a kick of oversteer through that. But it's going to be Mark Behrens just who holds on. Oh, Nayam spins the wall. Behrens is 10th from Siravatsky. Nayam has crashed. Keersmakers goes through to 12th. Nayam's going to claim 13th at the end. Martin Bradansky is 14th. That is now the race over. as we lost Dylan Scrivens and George Chatzpantelis. Niam now crashes straight back into the rear end of Keersmakers after the finish. But what a race that was! It's Panzer from Schmidt, then Kraus, Van der Neer, Fournier, White, Valeriano, Rodger, Ivanov, Berens, Zervatsky, Keersmakers, Niam, Brunansky, Scrivens and Chatzpantelis. But our overall champion is Giordano Valeriano. Giordano Valeriano in the Musto car. The number 31 is the champion of the 2008 Ace Formula Sim Racing Ace Championship.
Yeah, he has definitely been the best guy this season. I mean, especially at the beginning of the year, he was by far the best guy. I remember it was Bahrain, or another race like that. He just absolutely dominated with the strategy, and I can't really deny that he was the best guy this season. But well, unfortunately for the other guys, I mean, so it's very nice to see that we got a champion, because he was in WC last year, but he struggled quite a lot, dropped down to Ace, and he's sort of shown himself again. So it's good to see the driver can make throughout season. I'm sure he'll be now a WC seat for next season. That he's champion.
I tell you what, he's absolutely ready. He's claimed the Ace Championship a round early. He's going to go to the final Paulo with no pressure at all, because he's claimed it already. He's dominated this series, and he is well and truly deserving of a World Championship seat. And I can't wait to see him in the very top series next season, where I'm sure he will be.
Well, after a quite eventful race today, there's not much more to say. Then we'll be back in about an hour and 10 minutes for the World Championship. 53 laps with the best drivers in sim racing come to entertain you for an hour and a half. So thank you very much for watching today, and we congratulate Giordano Valeriano. And is there anything to close it out with, Joshua?
Yeah, I'm just going to say well done to Giordano Valeriano for that. And credit where credit's due. Robin Panzer did a fantastic job today as well to win this race by a margin of 12.491 seconds. That's a great race from Robin Panzer. And also credit to Lucas Schmidt and Phil Kraus, who did a fantastic job in second and third, despite the late incident. And yeah, also thank you to you, Cameron Rodger, for streaming and for being my co-commentator here, and also to our race director Chris Cobb. And I'm sure that we will see you very shortly for the World Championship race, and make sure to join us in 2 weeks' time, I believe, for the final race of this championship as well at the Brazilian round at Interlagos. So yeah, see you then.